Conversations are key, conversations are key, conversations are key. Today's guest is a visionary entrepreneur and brand builder who has spent his career at the intersection of culture, strategy, and innovation. Sandy Sandiford is a co-founder and a driving force behind Amber and Opal whiskey, one of the fastest rising new premium spirits making noise across the country with features in Forbes, Food and Wine, Chilled Magazine, and major cultural outlets. Amber and Opal has quickly positioned itself as a brand that blends craftsmanship, luxury, and authenticity. And Sandy is one of the architects behind that vision. Before stepping into the spirits industry, Sandy built a reputation as a strategic leader across business development, brand management, and operational leadership, partnering with executives, creatives, and global teams to bring bold ideas to life. He's someone who understands how to take a concept from spark to execution, from the boardroom to the marketplace. He's also a powerful example of what it looks like to create opportunities, build partnerships the right way, and develop brands that speak directly to culture, not around it. And today he's here to break down the real story behind Amber and Opal, the entrepreneurship journey, the collaboration with Ja Rule, and the mindset it takes to build something meaningful from the ground up. Welcome to Conversations are Key, Sandy Sandiford. How you feeling, brother?
Oh, man, I'm feeling great, Keon.
Yeah, man.
Happy to be here, man. I'm happy that we finally connect with each other, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I'm glad you're here to key it up with me, man.
Oh, yeah.
For people meeting you for the first time, who is Sandy Sandiford in your own words?
Ooh, it's sometimes kind of hard to describe yourself. Probably use a couple people, other people's words about myself. But
Get a little closer to the microphone.
I'm a hustler, you know, definitely a hustler. Some people call me a savant, you know, like something like Clarence Avon. You know, I'm a connector. I connect a lot of people in different, you know, brands and communities and different, you know, different things all across the board. I'm a helper. You know, I like to help people, introduce them to things that can help them build their brand, connect people with the right people. But that's all I am, is really a connector, you know, and a hustler at the same time.
Yeah, Clarence Avon is big, man.
Yeah.
How do you become a connector?
Man, the crazy thing is I never really knew what I was doing at one time. I was just like collecting people, you know, and I've been doing it since I was probably like 14 years old. First place I connected with a lot of people, I used to work at a place called Dapper Dan's in Harlem.
Big shout outs to Dapper Dan.
Yeah. So a family friend, I called him my uncle, was a guy by the name of Jerry McGee. He introduced me to Dap, and a lot of that just started from there. You know, I worked there. I met everybody from Run DMC, Eric B. Rakim, you name it, Finesse and St. Quince, JJ Fad. I was around with Mike Tyson, got in that whole thing with Mitch Green, you know. But just being around those things and just, you know, I just continued it and built what I built and just keep on connecting people.
That's dope, man. So, in being a connector, how did that get you to the spirits industry?
Oh man, being a connector, how I got there. I got a bunch of friends that's in the wine and spirits business. You know, we help them build their brands by treating their brands like it was ours. I have a friend by the name of G. Rich, who used to work at Ciroc. You know, when he first started, he was like the main guy there. He passed away in a car accident, but very good guy. I'm talking about true to his friends, and we were super close. And being that I had that connection, that still transitions on to today, you know, because he put a lot of people on, a lot of people that you know in the music, in the wine and spirits business, who are definitely black. He has some type of connection to help a lot of people get to where they're at, you know, and people still respect that, and they still open up doors for us and answer our phone calls and help us out.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So, you know, when we look at Amber and Opal, what's the real origin story behind Amber and Opal, and, you know, where did the idea first spark?
Amber and Opal started out as it was basically almost like a social experiment. It really started with, we had an investment group. quite a few of us. We were in it. So what came across our table at the time was during COVID. So what came across the table at our time was a warehouse full of whiskey, and we were buying all types of stuff. I was investing in gold, real estate, NFTs. And the funny thing is when we bought those barrels and we all chipped in, it was a bunch of us that bought almost like a warehouse full of whiskey. Mm-hmm. We bought this with Ethereum, and that's like one of the main movers of it, like especially when it came to, it's like Bitcoin, if anybody knows it. So we bought it.
Wait a minute. So you guys use Ethereum to buy barrels of whiskey?
Yes.
How long ago are we talking?
This was in the beginning of COVID, when everybody was in the house and, listening to D-Nice and all this other stuff. You know, we created like an investment group, and like we were investing in like tons of different things. And one of the things that came across our table was, and I'm glad I bought it, right? Because I bought NFTs and stuff like that, but it was nothing tangible. It wasn't nothing that we can grab, and those things just became almost like non-existent. So if you bought them, you could have lost, or you could have made some money if you flipped them at the right time. But I'm glad that we bought these barrels of whiskey because we owned it. It was something that we owned. It was tangible. I could touch it. It's like buying gold. It's like buying real estate. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy that I did invest in some of those things during COVID.
A lot of people don't know. I found out recently, I think I was telling you the other day, a friend of mine, Andrew, he's into whiskey as well, and he bought barrels, and he was like, "Man, this is a good investment." Mm-hmm. I really didn't know anything about whiskey investment, and how lucrative it could be.
It can be.
So how did you find out about barrels of whiskey? Like, when did somebody pitch you the idea, or did you research it?
No. So I got a couple friends who are really like heavy whiskey drinkers. They love it. Like one of my partners, Herb Rice, he loves whiskey. Like he knows the ins and outs and everything about it. I wasn't that much into it. I would drink it here and there because I'm around my guys, and these guys really drink whiskey. My other friend, Mike Williams, he drinks whiskey. Herb drinks whiskey, so he's like the whiskey guy. And he was like, "Man, we got to do this." And I was like, "All right, you sure?" Like, "Yo, let's do it." And that's what we wound up doing. So just a couple of us. It was 4 of us that did it out of the group of probably about 20 of us in that one group that we had. But there was another group outside of us that Ja was connected to that really brought the idea and the thing to us. So that's what we moved on.
So what made you choose whiskey as the spirit to build a brand around? Because, a lot of people, when you think of, hip hop and when you think of, stuff that we're into, it's usually tequila. It's usually, there was the vodka thing at one point, right? Probably still is. Whiskey. What made you choose to build a brand around whiskey?
Well, whiskey, we thought that it would be a great idea because tequila's like oversaturated. It's 40, 50, 60, 70 different people jumping into that right now, especially like entertainers. Every time I turn around, there's another entertainer, that's jumping into it. We wanted to do something different, and we didn't want to chase what everybody else was chasing. When most people are going left, we try to go right and try to find something else because we want to lead instead of, be led. So we thought that it would be a great opportunity. And while we were doing it, and we were doing this for a while, and all of a sudden I started seeing Beyonce come out. I was like, damn, she came out before us. But we've been building it and trying to find the right recipe, to get it to where we at. But yeah.
So, I got the cover of Chilled magazine right here. Ja Rule's on the cover, sipping up, some Amber and Opal. You guys got the feature.
Oh yeah.
How did you and Ja Rule come together to create Amber and Opal?
So Ja is a longtime friend. We've known him for a very long time. Again, my friend Herb and Ja, their wives have grown up together from like middle school. And so, Ja's been with his wife for 25 years or more. Herb's been with his since college,
That's dope, man. You don't see a lot of that today,
Yeah.
A lot of marriages don't last.
Nah, they don't, man. You got to respect that, man. Take my hat off to Ja. 20-something years, you know, and being home and being loved by your kids. It's a different. It shows some type of character in you when your kids love you and want to be around you and want to come back home. Some kids be like, I don't want to go back home. They go to college, I ain't going back.
I'm done.
So, I'm done. But.
Right. That's dope, man. So what did the early development process look like for you guys?
Early development, so when we first started, we bought these barrels of whiskey, and we were trying to make them age. Because when they told us to buy them, you let them age, and then you turn this into well, you could do whatever you want with it. We could flip it. We really bought this just to flip it at a premium to make some money, right? So we wound up buying it. We held it for about, I think it was probably about like 6 years. It hit the 6-year mark because it was already aging when we purchased it. And a couple of guys in the group, not in our group, but another group who bought with us, they started cracking open their barrels and they started bottling it. But they were bottling it, it was like Christmas or something like that for friends and family. And so, a light bulb went off in everybody's head, like, yeah, wait a minute, we could possibly turn this into something. Mm-hmm. So we spoke to a friend of ours who is pretty big in the whiskey, rather the spirits business. They have a ton of brands, and they gassed us up. They was like, man, y'all got to do it. I'm going to help you, and we could help figure this thing out. And that's what got us into it, right? So when we did that, we just, so we still have those same barrels that we, from inception when we first started. We didn't even touch those yet. We wound up going to a distillery in Baltimore. And now when the one in Baltimore, Herb lives in Baltimore, so does Kelvin. Mm-hmm. Herb is the whiskey enthusiast. He's the one that loves it, right? So he would invite us down. I would come from Atlanta to Baltimore. John would come from New York, and we would go and we would do tastings. And so we were just tasting different flavors and different things to play with. We wanted to do something different. So the reason why we picked the honey whiskey is because we want to do something different, mm-hmm. And that's where it really landed,
Yeah, so, when you think about choosing the blend, the flavor, the distillery, bottle design, walk us through that. How do you come up with this design? When I taste it, I think I taste some figs.
Yep.
I taste, I feel like I tasted like some notes of like orange or something like that.
Yeah.
It was very distinct, for a whiskey, and I'm not really a big whiskey drinker. Mm. But, as soon as I tasted it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
it's different.
No, it's way different, man. I'm talking about this thing is so deliciously complex that it's just something about it. So let me give you a little history of it. So it's a honey botanical whiskey that we have, right? The botanicals is teas, right? So the tea, we have a green tea in it. It has hints of cinnamon, fig, and ginger, mm-hmm. and then there's a black tea in there called Lapsang Souchong, right? And it gives it a very smoky taste. It has like a very, so when you're tasting it, you'll taste the honey up front. Mm-hmm. And then you'll taste all the other flavors in there. It's like starts bouncing around, and then you just goes through a whole thing. And then at the end of it, it has a very long lasting finish, and it has that smokiness at the end of it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a mezcal finish, mm-hmm. but it's like it's just something different. It's just so delicious. It's yeah.
So when was the moment you realized this is the taste? We got it. Did you go through like a testing phase of trying different flavor combinations?
Yeah.
What does that look like? How does that work? Is it, are you with like a scientist in a lab someplace trying out different things? Or are you in somebody's kitchen piecing it together? Yeah. Coming up with, coming up with the sauce, like the seasonings? Like how does that process work?
It's all of that, So we have a master distiller. Mm-hmm. We use a distiller out in Baltimore who helped us come up with this flavor profile. We wanted to do something different from everyone else, and so what we did, we wound up putting the botanicals in, and it has also has real honey in it. Like most other honey whiskeys have like some type of artificial flavoring. This is all natural, and the funny thing is when you're asking about that, it took us a long time to figure out the right honey to go with it. We probably tried about 20 some odd different honeys from all over. I'm talking about from Morocco, from California, from different countries and states. So we wound up finding this one particular honey, because after a while I was getting frustrated. Mm-hmm. Herb was like, man, we got to get it right. We don't want it. So it took us almost a year and a half to get the right flavor.
Really?
Yeah, because different honeys do different things. They have different tastes, mm-hmm. So this thing here, there was a honey that we tried. It tasted pretty good, but when you held it up to the light, you would see it look like gasoline flowing through it, and it wouldn't settle right, and it just sat at the bottom. You would have to shake it up. Mm-hmm. We didn't want that look. We wanted something to be like very clean and very delicious. But so with that, we wound up doing getting the honey, and it has hints of cinnamon, fig, and ginger, and also it has the Lapsang Souchong tea, mm-hmm. which just knocks it out the park. Mm-hmm. Mm.
So that's the whole process of developing the flavor profile.
Yeah, so that's what we did. We tried a couple different things. I tried different flavors. We tried different, all different types of notes and stuff like that, different botanicals. But when we finally got the right recipe, we knew we had it. Mm-hmm. And once we had it, we was like, this is it. So we just started bottling and shipped it to a couple friends to see what they said, how they felt about it, and they gave us a great response.
So what's one thing, Sandy, that you would say most people don't understand when it comes to launching a spirits brand?
Man, you really have to, you really got to dig into what you're doing, right? And really, to me, I think that you really should love what you're doing. What we wound up doing, we wound up loving what we did. It takes time, it takes time. You have to be patient, and you just have to really understand the business of it, and just don't jump into something. Some people jump into things and don't understand the business of it, which we're lucky to have great people around us who know the business and could help steer us in the right place. But you really need somebody to come in and help you with some direction. You really can't go into something and not knowing what you're doing and just guessing at it, just throwing stuff against the wall and hoping it sticks. We didn't do that, We were intentional, and I think that's what most people have to do. They really have to figure out the brand and what direction, and come up with a business plan. A really good one, solid one.
So you had some mentorship.
Yeah, we had a couple mentors. Like I said, I have friends that's in the wine and spirits business, and then even with our distillery, they educated us a lot. I'm still learning. There's so many things that I've learned, and I'm still learning. I went to Kentucky the other day and went to a distillery out there, and I went to a rick house that they had. And this thing had about 38,000 barrels of whiskey, and barrels of whiskey, they're just different flavors. So you could, if you understand whiskey a little bit, they have light chars, they have dark chars, they have white oak, they have all types of different things that you can to change the flavor profile. So those are things. You got to learn the flavor profiles and stuff like that. Yeah.
So how do you differentiate Amber and Opal from other whiskeys that are out in the market?
Flavor profile. There's nothing on the market that really tastes like this. Honestly, it's not. I've tried all types of different honey whiskeys. Ours is a true whiskey. A lot of other flavored whiskeys are liqueurs. If you go and look at it, it says 70% alcohol. Ours is 80%. We wanted to make sure that we were true to being a real whiskey and not a liqueur or anything else. So we still got that, still have the flavor, and it's just delicious,
So what were the biggest challenges when you guys were, putting this together? Was it production? Was it distribution? Was it financing?
A little bit of everything, when you're starting. Like I said, it took time for us to figure it out, First thing that we had came across was just finding the right mix, right? Finally got that done, and then we get our bottles from France. Our tops come from Venezuela, and now we have these import taxes and all these other things, raises the prices, and it just gets a little crazy sometimes.
So wait a minute, the bottle itself comes from France?
Yeah, the bottle comes from France.
And the top comes from Venezuela?
Venezuela. And so that little badge on the front?
Yeah.
That's the same thing. That came from there. Came from Venezuela, the same thing as the top. But everything that we did on this bottle, sorry to go back to something, but everything that we did on this bottle was very intentional. So being that it has honey, we did a nod to the bee that you see stamped on there. The top is shaped like a honeycomb, right? The label is shaped like a honeycomb. And it's handcrafted. When we first started, we were signing the bottles and putting the batch numbers and all these things. So it's a higher quality, and and like I said, when we first started this thing, we put a lot of love into this thing. It's like when your grandmother cooks for you. You put love in her food for you. She tastes it every time she turns around. She tastes it, make sure it's proper, and you're not getting anything that ain't grandma special. So we put a lot of love into this. That's
what's up, man. When you look at the positioning and your approach to the brand's luxury positioning and visual identity, how intentional was that for you guys?
It was very intentional. We wanted to make a very classy brand. We wanted to do something special. We wanted a bar to be here, right? And when we set that bar, we wanted to make sure, first of all, that the liquid was exquisite, and we made sure that the liquid was the best that we could possibly find. Like I said, we done tried. I know a bunch of distilleries all over, and I love the one that we're at, and they make a good product. Our base is what they sell originally, and we just added our little notes to it and just enhanced it. But we really wanted to make it like something premium. You could tell by the bottle, even when you look at it, you want this on your bar. It just shines. Like when you look at people, just look at it like, what the hell is that? Oh my God. And then when they taste it, it's a different thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, and I think you achieved that with the look. I mean, even hearing the backstory, bottles coming from France, you know, the bee on the front, you know, the honeycomb shape, you know, it's very intentional, man. So when you're building a luxury brand like this, financing, how do you secure the financing? Do you just walk into a bank with a business plan? Or, you know, is it a team of people getting together? Like, and when you're undertaking a venture like this, what would one expect the financing to look like just to get, you know, out the door and even started, just to get a prototype? What is that whole process like?
Well, the crazy thing is that when we created this, we bootstrapped it ourselves, right? We didn't ask for any money from anybody else. We just came together and we all got the same amount of money in. We put the same amount of time and effort into this. And we're still at the point where we have our own money in. But the great thing is that we've been profitable, you know? We're still buying, I mean, we're still grinding, getting it out the mud, as we say. But financing, we finance it ourselves. But the thing is, we had to figure this thing out by ourselves, right? No matter how bad we wanted to be in 1,000 stores and want to do all these things, everything has to happen organically, right? And when we did that, we started out just us, still bootstrapped to this day, but we're getting to a point where we're going to need financing, right? But we know how to get that. But we had to prove that our concept was real and it's sustainable, and we have repeat customers and people coming back. And now you have, so what you really need is to show that you start your brand, proof of concept, go out, you build it, and then once you're building it, then you go ahead and go get your financing. You could, like, we can do PO financing. They have, you can go to banks, but you have to show that you have money coming in, cash flow, and all these other things. But
for people that don't know what PO is,
purchase order financing. So if you have purchase orders, you can go to a lender, you can go to a private lender, you can go to a bank, and they'll lend you the money. And, you know, you have to pay them back in whatever amount of days that you say that you're borrowing the money for. It could be 30 days, 40, 60, 90, whatever that PO financing is. But you really just keep on building it, man. You know, you just start with something, a concept, and make sure the liquid is good, and just figure it out, you know. So that's where we're really at right now. We're at the point where we're getting too big, and we will need some financing eventually. But right now, we're trying to we really want to grow slow, right? We want to grow slow, and we're not trying to rush this thing. We want to make sure that we're connecting with our buyers, right? So that's where we're at. We're growing slow. I can jump into, so the story with us, we first started, Total Wine gave us, I think it gave us like 60 stores. Then they gave us 89 stores. Then they gave us 208 stores that we can sell in, right? And that's like 26 different states. So we wanted to make sure that we're growing organically and just working in those states that we're in. Right now, I think we're in 7 states, right? So that's where we're at. But when you want to get financing, you really have to prove yourself and show your numbers and show that your thing is really a real business and not something to play with. Now we're getting to a point where we just got into Virginia. I think we're in 100 stores in Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, and the ABC stores. That's something, a feat in itself. We got a North Carolina.
What's the ABC store for those that don't know?
The ABC stores is a state-regulated store that the state runs. And Virginia runs their own liquor, their own liquor stores. And you have to go through the ABC stores. You can't go to Jack's liquor store. You can't go to Bottoms Up liquor store. You have to go through the state, and the state distributes to those people. You know, and different states have it. I think Pennsylvania's like that. Pennsylvania, Virginia, and there's someone else that does the same thing. Yeah, you have to go through the state.
So do you have to have like a team of lawyers, like when you're doing this whole process? Because I can imagine it can get a little tricky.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you definitely need lawyers. You need lawyers for everything, man. Anything that you do in life, if you're really serious about it and you're paying attention to it, you really have to get lawyers to read over your contracts. You know, there's some tricky contracts out there. They have distributors that'll get you tied into something for 5 and 10 years. You can't leave, and you can't get out the contract because you signed a contract with them, and they have a clause that you can't leave, right? And if you do leave, you have to pay some crazy penalty. Most of them have a thing in it that you have a certain amount of years that you have to wait in order to leave your contract, and you can't sell anymore in that state. You have to just be dormant. Nothing's moving. You can't sell anybody, and you have to wait 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, unless you pay yourself out of the contract, which can happen, which you can do. But you definitely need lawyers on everything, man. Even when partnerships, everything that you have to make sure that everything is crossed for yourself.
Yeah, partnerships with your friends, all
Everything.
Yeah. I learned that recently.
Oh, listen,
Sometimes you do these homeboy, handshakes.
Yeah,
we gonna do this, man. It's bros, ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you turn around and you're like, what happened?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you have to, man. I had some very expensive lessons in life, man. Like, you think people are your friends and you sign NDAs and even signing an NDA sometimes can't help you if you didn't. You need a lawyer at the end of the day.
So you doing business, you've had situations where you did the homeboy handshake, and it came back to bite you.
Yeah,
Really?
plenty times, man. Plenty times.
Really?
But yeah, plenty times, man. I done been chewed up and spit out, man. I remember one time I gave this lawyer who I thought was a very good lawyer. I believed that he could help us. It was during COVID. We were buying, well, not our group, but another group. I was buying mask, syringes, gloves, and all types of stuff. I gave this lawyer, me and another friend of mine, we gave him $2 million. And the lawyer basically took our idea and what we were thinking about doing, took our money, and did exactly what we were doing. And I had to go sue him and had to go through arbitrators. I'm still chasing that money to this day.
Wow.
But a friend of mine introduced me to this guy. I thought he was good,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, let's get it done. And even, yeah.
Man, when you go through situations like that, it's definitely a lesson learned. You know what I mean? It's something that, it's hard to take that on the chin, you know?
Yeah, it is. Believe me, I wanted to find them and fix them myself, but that's not going to fix anything. You wind up in jail, and you wind up, but like I said, expensive lessons, man.
Yeah.
But I've learned from that, and I won't let that happen again.
So key takeaway for anybody listening or watching right now, make sure you have your business affairs in order. Get yourself a lawyer, somebody that knows what they're doing, draft up a contract, even if it's with your friends.
Correct.
Okay? Get something in
writing. Anything. Even you got to write it on the back of some toilet tissue.
Yep.
Whatever it is, you write it and you sign it, and
that outlines the terms, and it keeps business
honest.
Keeps everything honest. And if you have that, friendships stay intact that way.
Oh yeah,
100%.
100%.
So let me ask you, man, whiskey and hip hop haven't always gone hand in hand, right? Why does Amber and Opal break that and fit, this cultural moment?
Well, whiskey and hip hop probably hasn't gone hand in hand unless you're talking about Kid Rock or something like that, which is not us. It's not our culture. Well, it is part of it because he's hip hop somewhat, right? Country hip hop or whatever it is that he does. But the funny thing is that we are the driving force. We tell people what's cool. We make things cool. People don't tell us. Like a lot of times, people steal our ideas and do things, and then all of a sudden it's theirs. But we're the controllers of of what we're doing. So that's all it is. We're just in control of us. Beyonce's in whiskey. I'm sure somebody else is going to jump into whiskey eventually, And Beyonce is as hip hop as you could possibly get, with Jay right next to her. And they got a deal that they just did with LVMH, which is doing very well,
Ja Rule described the brand, the whiskey, as fire and elegance. I was reading that. What does that mean to you?
To me, I think it's pretty simple. Fire and elegance is that, when you drink the whiskey, it still has that sweet burn. It's not too much of a burn, but it is so delicious. It's just like a great taste, And I believe that's what he really meant by it. Fire and elegance is just that it still has that burn, but it's very sweet. It's very inviting, and it's a grown person's drink. It's not something to be played with. It's a little sweet.
Don't play with it. Don't play with it.
Don't play with it. Don't
it's
play
safe
with
for
it.
play.
Yeah, because you had some the other day. We were out the other night.
Yeah.
And you tasted it for the first time.
Remember, look, I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
What's a good cigar? What would you pair it with?
Oh man, So I got a friend of mine who has a cigar company. You know, he's just starting out. It's Capito's Way. We did a golf tournament the other day for Dwayne Wade, and we were serving Amber and Opal there. And he came and he brought his cigars and he infused them with Amber and Opal. So I would say his cigar, Capito's Way.
Capito's Way.
Capito's Way.
Yeah, I think I've had a Capito's Way.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I gave you one other night.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I think you gave it to
I give it to Omar.
Omar.
Yeah.
Big shout outs to Omar.
I got one in the truck, so
Yeah.
I'll give you some.
How important is it to build a brand that speaks authentically to the culture and not just for commerce?
Yeah. Authentically to the brand. That's a good question. So our thing is that what we're doing right now, we're trying to build something timeless, right? We're trying to build something that is very authentic as possible. We plan on leaving a legacy with this. Amber and Opal is just the introduction into what we're doing, right? It's just the intro. And then we got other things that are going to follow this. Like I said, we have a bourbon. Probably when we're ready to do that, it'll probably be 10 years old or maybe 12 years old. Then there's a bunch of different things that we've been dibbling and dabbling with.
When you think about partnership and collaboration, what makes your partnership with Ja Rule so powerful?
Listen, Ja is Ja, man. He is very charismatic, right? I'm talking about he is a super dope person. Ja is probably like one of the hardest working guys I ever met, and I'm really serious about that. He'll run circles around me. There'll be times I'm like, I'm dead tired, you know, and I know he's tired too. The other day we did an event at the Ravens Stadium. We did a tailgate party, right? He was just at 11 the night before in Miami. Flew in Miami, you know, at the 11, you don't go on until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
So he has to stay up. He had a couple things that he did tastings early that day in Miami, and then he did the show. And then from the show, woke up in the morning, jumped on a plane, land in Baltimore. He came and picked me up from my hotel, took the Sprinter to the tailgate. And I'm talking about he got out, performed, did his thing, and we had a whole lineup after that. And I'm talking about, Ja was like, listen, if I go to sleep, he's like, go to the hotel, go rest for me. He's like, if I go to bed, I'm not going to get up. That's how tired I am. He said, we have to just keep on going, pushing through this. And once it's done, then and then the next thing I know, like the same thing, like he said, he pushed through it. We did a tasting. I mean, we did the tailgate. We did the football game. We did, I think it was Black Swan we did. And then was another thing that we did after that. And then he went home. Probably ain't speak to him for like a day and a half after that. But I know he was dead tired. But he's the hardest working guy that I've possibly met in the entertainment business. He goes hard, and he loves the brand, and he's really 100% behind it. It's not like something that he white labeled, and you know, a lot of people white label things and bring a entertainer on. Entertainer really doesn't know the product, really doesn't love the product. Like the other day, we were in Miami, sitting down talking to a guy who owns a very well known vodka, and he has an artist, and the artist doesn't believe in the brand, I believe, you know, and they're not pushing it as hard as Ja is. And he's sitting there talking about, man, I wish I had somebody like Ja. I wish I had somebody that could push the product. And I'm showing him he's looking at our social media page, right? And he's going through and he was like, man, I wish I had somebody who would believe in the brand, push it. Ja's out there, everywhere he goes. You see him at galas. You see him on the golf course. You see him anywhere he's at, he's promoting the bottles and shaking hands and kissing babies and doing what he does, because that's the only way that you really get your brand out there is really pushing it. But him, there's no better partner that I think I would want.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So we see that he brings that to the table, and then you're bringing your business acumen to the table, and here we are.
Yep.
You get, we have Amber and Opal, right?
That's a fact.
So how do you balance creativity, business, friendship, all while building a brand the right way?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but with the right partners, anything is possible. Where I'm lacking at something, Herb will pick up. Or if Herb is missing out on something, Kelvin will hit him and be like, hey, listen, remember to do this. And vice versa. We all work in our own little ecosystem, and we pick up each other's slack. Sometimes we get left behind and we forget something, like, yo, did you get on top of that? And he'll remind me. So it's all about partnerships. If you got the right partners in life, man, you can do anything, man. It's like finding the right wife, Anything can happen if you got the right person behind you.
Yeah.
and we've known each other for a long time. We know all of our quirks. We know what we're missing, or or we just know when somebody needs to be tapped on the shoulder, like, hey, listen, tighten up, and we won't be in our feelings about it, because sometimes you'll be in relationships with people and you say something to them, they'll be upset, they'll get they'll be in their feelings.
Right.
We don't egos is out the door with us, even with Ja, we got to grab him like, hey, listen, you got to tighten up on this, or he'll grab us like, hey, what's up, so.
What advice would you give celebrities? What advice would you give brands that are looking to partner with celebrities? Because that could be a little loaded sometimes.
It can.
Yeah.
It can. Brands that's trying to, listen, find you somebody who is really behind your brand, who is authentic, and who really can help you. There's givers and takers in the world. There's people who you could deal with, and they'll take from you and won't give anything back. You gotta have somebody with the right mindset. Every celebrity is different. I've been around so many different celebrities. Some of them you have to babysit. Some of them you have to hold their hand. You want somebody who's going to work with you. And you're working. I'm not saying you're working for them, but somebody will work with you and help you grow.
This whole journey that you've been on, what has it taught you about leadership and building teams?
Well, listen, leadership, you definitely have to be a great leader, right? If you're not a good leader, ain't nobody gonna follow you, or they're gonna run off and go do their own thing and mess everything up. So you really have to be a really good leader. You have to learn how to delegate, and be on top of people, and just build it that way.
I'm working on building out a couple of, brands myself. I run my own post-production house. And one of the things that I struggle with sometimes is patience, dealing with the persistence, and timing. Sometimes I'm working with people where I just feel like they just don't have that same drive that I have. I'm big on, if you say you're going to do something, do it.
100%.
So, I've learned some lessons over the last year or two in this journey. But for you, what has been the biggest lesson around patience and persistence and timing that you've learned since you've been doing Amber and Opal? And even if it was something that you did before that ties into where we're at right now.
Patience is key, right? So I do low-income housing. I house people with Section 8 veterans, homeless, and I also do I house people with mental disabilities.
Man, let me tell you something. Guaranteed you're going to get your money.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
At the top of the month. People can talk stuff all they want.
Yeah, but that's the key. That's the key. But, you got a lot of headaches with that, But when I first started, I was only buying and selling. I used to flip houses too. I used to buy and sell houses. And one day I had met a hedge fund. And this hedge fund was, when they first started, I think they only had like 200 houses. And I met them in 2020, I believe. And I took them to Philadelphia. I was in Philly at the time. And I wound up meeting the treasurer at the time. And he introduced me to the president of the Philadelphia Housing Association, right? So when I met with those guys, I had brought the fund there with me, and we were about to start buying houses from the city. COVID came. Everything came to a screeching halt, right? Those guys went back to Baltimore, because that's where they're from as well. They're back in Baltimore. I would always send them packages of homes that I always got, like, and always send it to them. Once in a blue, whenever I came across something that was interesting, I'm like, all right, you guys might like this, you might like this. But I was in Detroit at the time. I'm still in Detroit, doing a lot. But so one day he calls me. It was probably like 2.5 years later. He's like, yo, Sandy, what's going on? I was like, nothing much. He said, you still in Detroit? He said, you still got connections up there? You can still? I was like, yeah. I said, why, what's up? He was like, I'm looking to buy some houses. I said, all right, what you trying to buy? He was like, I got like $50 million. I want to buy houses in Detroit.
Okay.
I said, all right. So, I wound up helping them scale, but I helped them scale in more than Detroit. They were in Pittsburgh, Ohio, Detroit, Milwaukee. They're all over the place now. Yeah, in Baltimore, of course. But yeah, I helped them get rid of a nice chunk of that. You know, I sold them a bunch of houses. But the thing is, patience taught me just to keep on sending, you know, just different houses to them. And one day it just came and everything just clicked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you remember your first successful flip?
My first successful flip,
Yeah.
it was years ago. I was in California with my really good friend, and his mother put us onto the whole housing thing, right? He was going to college in Virginia, and first house he bought, she was housing all the friends that lived in the house, you know. So that started his thing, and then he wound up moving. So he graduated, he wound up moving to California, and I went out there with him, and we bought a house, and we did the same thing, lived in for a little bit, and then we wound up flipping the house. And then we did it again, bought another house, stayed in for a little while, fixed it up, flipped it again. That was like one of the first times that I ever caught like a really good flip.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you realize you had a knack for, you know, business and investments and things of that nature?
The crazy thing is I've always been a hustler since I was little. I used to pack bags in grocery stores, carry bags to, you know, because I grew up in the Bronx, and I grew up in a place called Edenwall Housing, Edenwall Projects in New York. It's probably like one of the worst projects you could possibly be. I was just different than a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends wanted to sit around, play video games, and do all these things, and I was always a hustler. Right? I was working. Like I said, I used to shovel. I used to do anything to make money. I pretty much pushed and did. So I was always had that entrepreneur thing in me.
Where do you think that drive came from?
Oh man, my family, my mother. You know, I always watched my mother grind. I'm talking about she grinded and she took care of me. And she worked hard. She's probably like the hardest working person that I know. And then I had my uncles and my dad. All these people were like hustlers at heart, and they just whatever they did it to the most that they could possibly do. You know, yeah. So that's where I get it from. If I'm on something, I'll get it done.
I think that's dope, man. I'm always interested to hear, you know, people that, you know, are into investments and business and things, where that started at. Because I know for me, started at a young age as well. You know what I mean? So definitely for anybody that's listening, you know, and they have that same alignment, you could have your own Amber and Opal as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just got to start someplace.
You got to start somewhere. You just got to have a vision and just push. Because the funny thing is, I remember we were just thinking about doing this, and I didn't know if this thing was really going to turn into something. And, you know, we just took a shot at it. I take a shot at listen, I'd rather try and fail than not have tried at all, you know, and that's my thing. I failed at a lot of things, and, you know, some things click, you know, and when things do work out for me, it really works out, you know.
It's funny you say that, man, because there's been times where I just didn't want to try something, you know, or, you know, I got an invite to go to this radio event one time, and I was like, I ain't going to that because, you know, I was out of radio. You know, I had lost my first job. The station was sold, and I was feeling like I was in the bottom and down and out. And I remember I was sitting on my mother's couch, man, and I was like, I'm not going to that thing.
Yeah.
And then somebody called me, and they're like, yeah, you coming down here? And I was like, and then they were like, you should come down. At least check it out. You never know. Best decision I could have ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Because going to that one event, you know, changed my whole trajectory of my career.
Correct.
You know, I went to that event. I went from my mother's couch, you know, not having any money, to flying all over the country.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's dope.
You know, flying all over the country, you know, sitting in boardrooms and just soaking it up from some of the greatest minds to ever do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it came from that one chance meeting and trusting my instinct and trusting my gut. You know?
It. Yeah, I know it.
And so I think there's a little bit of that in everything that we do, right? We have to trust. One thing I say, whenever I don't trust my gut and my instinct,
that's a fact.
I pay the price.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? But like the gut is going to tell you, like, to me, my gut says this is right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to anybody that's watching and listening, man, you know, trust your instincts. Follow your gut. How do you define legacy, and what does that mean for Amber and Opal?
Legacy to me is what what you leave behind, right? What you leave behind for your kids and your family. You know, a lot of times growing up in these poor neighborhoods, we don't leave anything to our kids except like good stories. Oh, your dad was a great guy. You know, but when I pass, I want to leave my kids something. You know, I want to leave them either Amber and Opal, or leave them my portfolio of homes, or I want to give them direction and also give them, you know, just a blueprint of what to follow, and just keep on doing that over and over again.
How are you teaching your kids? Because how many kids you have?
I have 4.
You have 4 kids. How old?
My oldest is 35. I got a 25-year-old son. My daughter's 35. She's the oldest. Felicia. Jason is 25, about to be 26. Then I have Sandy Ray. She's 22, about to be 23. And I have a little one who is 9. Her name is Aubrey.
Okay. So my daughter, she's sitting in the next room. She's 15. And I'm constantly trying to figure out, how do I teach her this and, you know, show it to her without pushing it on her, because I want her to embrace, you know, investments. I want her to embrace finances and embrace making smart financial decisions. You strike me as the type of brother that, you know, you probably instilled that in your kids.
Yeah, definitely.
What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so my thing is that you'd be surprised at your kids, right? You'd be surprised that when I'm talking to them, sometimes I talk to them till I'm blue in the face, you know, and you think they're not getting it. But they really are. You know, you got to lead by example. So if you lead by example, they see what you're doing. Eventually, what your kids always do, no matter what, they always mimic you. They mimic the way you walk. They mimic the way you talk, your mannerisms. Whatever you do, they mimic. If you're a hard worker, they'll mimic that. If you're investing, they usually pay attention to what you're doing. And most kids are really inquisitive of what dad is doing, especially if dad is really making some moves and shaking. And that's how it is. You know, your kids learn by example. You know, as long as you're showing them what you're doing, eventually, if you keep them around you, you know, I always try to keep my kids around me, you know. And now I have a grandson. I keep him around me, you know. And then my kids really, one of my kids is the ultimate hustler. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, you really got it. And then my littlest one, she's just so bright, and she's gonna be something special, you know.
Yeah.
She's always following me and doing anything that I'm doing. She's just like soaks it up as a sponge. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I love to hear that, you know. So, Amber and Opal, where do you see the brand in the next 12 to 24 months?
Next 12 months, I plan on being in, right now I think we're in 7 states maybe, going on 8. I plan on being in another 5 by the next year. Texas, Chicago will be in Illinois, Nevada probably, and 2 other ones, the smaller markets. But yeah, we'll plan on being there in the next 12, 24 months. I'm hoping that, listen, I'm walking in the stores and I'm seeing every store that I could possibly go to, every bar. I want to be, you know, we want to be everywhere, you know, like I see a lot of other brands. But if we push it right, I think the next 24 years we'll be in quite a few stores. I could walk into almost any liquor store and see it, or any bar. And even overseas, you know, I don't know if it'll be 2 years, but overseas we'll start tapping into that market, going to Europe and other places like that. Africa's real big. I know we went to, I know Josh went to Dubai with this. They love it out there, and also Brazil. They go crazy for whiskey in Brazil. I just can't wait to tap into that market.
Oh, that's dope, man. That's dope. Any upcoming releases or, you know, partnerships? Anything big you guys got, you know, going?
So one thing that we do that we've been pushing, we've been, Josh got this thing that we've been doing, and we're doing this, it's like a bar takeover, where Job goes into different hotels or resorts and stuff like that, and he becomes the bartender. Even like smaller bars and venues and stuff like that, they can reach out to us, and if it's on our stop, we'll come through and do a bar takeover, because our biggest marketing that really wins for us is liquid to lips. Like, as soon as people taste it, it's you know, I couldn't tell you how many people buy it off rip just because they taste it. It's like you tasted it. You was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, and women really love it. So we made this for what we call the Whiskey Curious.
The Whiskey
Curious.
Whiskey Curious, okay.
So most curious people out the group have been women. You know, and you know how women are. They're very loyal customers, and they buy, and most guys want to buy what women like. You know, so we've been lucky to find that space that a lot of people haven't been paying attention to. So we have something special. A lot of women love it. We've been paying attention to them, and we've been pushing.
So what are the different mixes, you know, that you see women are typically, you know, drawn to with this? Because I think I saw one. I think Ja does a special one that's called the
Amber Rush.
Amber Rush. Yeah, I saw
Amber
that.
Rush.
You know, how many different ways can we
Oh man,
remix this?
There's so many different ways because it's a whiskey.
Yep.
You know, they have old fashions. They have the bee's knees. They have like my favorite is the Amber Rush. The Amber Rush is a take from a gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
A gold rush is 2 parts alcohol, 1 part either honey syrup, or we like to use agave syrup because it already has honey in it. Just a little bit of agave and a half an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice.
Okay.
And I'm talking about it's almost like a lemonade, but this thing is so. Women love it. Like I said, once they taste it, it's over. But women love it neat too. People love it neat. Like the whiskey enthusiasts, they you know, a lot of people are really, they want that hard burn.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them love it. They love the hard burn. But I got some hard burn for you too coming. You know.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. So, how can listeners, people watching, how can they support the brand?
Oh man, so listen, we're in Total Wines in the cities that we're in. We're in Florida, California, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, D.C. We'll be in Virginia, but that's in all the ABC stores. North Carolina, the same thing. And Georgia, I just got into Georgia. We just signed distribution with RNDC. But you can go online right now and buy it from sealbotch.com and also Flaviar. On Flaviar, they got us down as the #1 honey whiskey in the U.S. And that's a very reputable, online retailer. You know, they said we're #1. It's a special thing for us.
Hey, listen, I love it, man. And I'm serious. I would love to be the voice of this.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
I
man.
do voiceover.
Listen, I'm with you, man.
Listen, I'm going to give you a little audition right now on the spot.
Oh, yeah, hit me.
All right. Amber and Opal is a delightful fusion of uniquely distinct flavors, a robust and spicy straight white whiskey, infused with the sweet intensity of all-natural honey and unmistakable smoke-laden earth tones, derived from a unique blend of wild botanicals, rich, indulgent, and smooth. Amber and Opal sings harmoniously and tantalizes the senses. Handcrafted in Maryland.
Yep.
That was a little something.
Yeah, everything on the back of it is true to what it is, man. That voice, man, you might listen. You're definitely hired.
So, I close out each episode with a segment called Keys to the Street. It's my version of dropping gems, where guests get to come in and, drop gems on the principles they live by. So what would be your key to the street, Sandy?
My key to the street is something that I live by. It's almost like my mantra. Mine's is the more people I help, the better my life becomes. So I'm not a person to gatekeep. If you come to me and you have a plan, I'll help you, especially if you're a friend of mine. And I'm not charging everybody like how everybody else. They like, hey, listen, I got this class for you. I'm gonna teach you this. Give me $5,000. Like, I'll help. If your thing makes sense and I can point you in the right direction, I'll definitely help you out. But the more people's lives I make better, the better my life becomes. So help people. Don't be a taker. Be a giver. Some people always feel like I'm always pouring into people, but it comes back to me. But if it doesn't come back to me, it comes back to my kids. Come back to my grandkid. It comes back to my mom. Even to this day, my mom still lives in New York, and people always reach out to my mom. Hey, how you doing? You need any help? And my mom's like, wasn't they just got by and checked on me? But that's something that you leave on people because that's something that they saw you do. And like I said, I've been a very giving person. I'm not a taker. I help you out, to any degree that I possibly can, as long as it ain't hurting me, or hurting my brand. But if anything, I can help you. I'll definitely introduce you or put you on.
Dope. Love it, man. Love it. For anybody that wants to get in contact with you, how can people reach you? How can people stay tapped in with Amber and Opal? Websites, social media, drop it.
Yeah, so you can go to our webpage. It's amberopalspirits.com. And, that's where you can purchase from. You also should follow us on Instagram. It's the same as Amber Opal Spirits. And just follow us there. Mine is pro_fes, FES73 on Instagram. You can reach out to me that way. But definitely follow us. We'd love to have you as a part of our community.
No doubt. Sandy, I appreciate you for stopping through and keying it up with us today. Amber and Opal whiskey. It's official. Make sure y'all check it out. And man, continued success, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Continued success.
Oh yeah, Amber and Opal, man. But I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having us. Looking forward to drinking this with you in a little bit.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
All right.
100%.
All right,
My
cool.
guy.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.